Good evening, everybody. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good, Ben. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Paulette, good to see you.
Hey, Steve. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, I echo that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you guys are learning. That's the main thing. Got a lot of
Yep.
folks still coming in. Tim, good to see you. Ray, good to see you. Marion, it's good to see you. Jim, glad you're here. Mark, good to see you. Still got a couple folks. Marion, what time is it there?
It's 10 o'clock in the morning.
10 o'clock in the morning. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
I'm honored that you would be with us here.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Ron, you got your audio working, buddy.
I do. Thank you. I miss you guys.
Oh man, it is good to see you. Paulette and I stayed at Ron's house when we visited Toronto. Gosh, it seems like forever ago. It actually wasn't. It was just a few months ago, really.
It was actually in October of 2019. And man, has time passed and has things ever changed, right, Steve?
Wow. So Ron's got in his practice room downstairs enough tech and cameras and screens. I was jealous. I could broadcast out of there. There you
Yeah,
go.
I guess you probably could have.
Like a bunker down there. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Let me go around Robin here and make sure everybody can record if they want to. Let's see. Hang on just a second. So if you'd like to record, just hit the button at the bottom here once I get through everybody.
Okay.
Okay, I think I got everybody. So everybody should be able to record now if you wish to do that. So there you go. There you go. Glad you're here. Let me get my, because we're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we got? 11 people. We're missing about 5.
It might be the meeting host, Steve, because I tried to log in at 4:45 and it just let me in when you said, "Hey, Tim."
Oh, okay. All right. Let me, I can see who's waiting. Well, I don't have anybody in the waiting room right now, so we'll see. All right. Hey, let's get started. Did you enjoy Blue Bossa? Different from all of me, but a great tune. And our first delve into Latin and Latin feel. So it was a great. I wanted to do because it's a great song to kind of teach some minor concepts as well as to do some soloing. If you guys want to ask me a question, y'all can wave at me or ask a question or put it in the chat as well, because I can see the chat if you want to do that as well. So yeah, Blue Bossa. So the melody is pretty straightforward. It's not in an area of the guitar that really requires us to have to, flip it down and flip it up like we had to do with All of Me. All of Me, welcome, Robert, glad you're here. All of Me, we had to, put it low and then put it high. This one, it's kind of a smaller range, and so it works really nicely in the third position. So that's where I threw that there. We're in C minor, E flat major, the relative major there. And then we do slip in the third line into the key of D flat major for a few bars. So that is a nice little refreshing twist in the harmony there. Anybody have any questions on the melody? You guys are so quiet. Some of the groups, they're yapping at me the entire time. Some groups, everybody's so quiet. It's still early. It's still early, maybe. So, Mark, it looks like you are swimming with a bunch of people there, up there in your thing there.
Yeah, that's it's a freshly poured roof on a church in Peru last year.
Oh, good.
If I can ask something, I've got an older version of the fake book, but it did not have blue bossa in that. Now, is it in just the newer versions of the fake book?
It is, well, there's lots of different fake books. Let me first say that.
Yeah.
There's not just one. There's tons. Hang on just a second. Keep showing it to me, Ron.
Sorry.
Yep. That's who puts that out of the back? Is that Hal Leonard?
It is, yes.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So that is one of them, a good one. But there are others. Kind of the standard one that we'll be using, of course, is the real book. So we'll be going out of the real book, but unfortunately, the real book did not have a track for blue bossa. So we had to kind of do the YouTube videos for that, which hopefully worked out okay for you guys. Some guys play it really slow, as you'll notice. Some of the track is, one of the tracks is, kind of that speed, and the other ones are 1, 2, 3, and dun, 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 and they move along pretty good. So there's different. That song I had forgotten when I initially picked it, that there are really two different tempos that folks play it at. But I included, some of you all had asked for me to put the melody in tab, just that might help out some folks. So I included this time the melody in tab. Was that helpful to anybody?
Yeah, I thought it was helpful to me. I'm still trying to work with the number of flats in it there as I'm reading the music, and having the tab was helpful to do that. It's as you said, it's a fairly straightforward melody, but you got to get it under your fingers.
Right, and being in C minor, we end up with some flats, and then when you switch to D flat, it really kicks it up with the flats. I apologize on behalf of horn players everywhere. You're going to see a lot of flats. In jazz world, get used to reading flats, because flats is something you're going to see a lot. But it is different. If I could have found one in A minor, I would have chosen an A minor one. That would have been a little bit of an easier transition, but we might as well jump in the deep end, huh? Deep end, we're already here. So let me talk a little bit about the form of the song, okay? When we typically do this on a club date or something like that, you'll play the melody, since it's only 16 bars long, you'll play the melody twice, and then you'll do solos. You'll go round and round and round on the solos. Then you usually go back and play the melody twice again. And then they'll quite often do this little tag part. What the tag is usually just the last 4 bars repeated. In the real book version of it, they just write out the tag, excuse me. Let me also, for some of you that may be less familiar with it, because I know the last group had some questions on it. Oh, I see we have a couple questions in the chat. I'll get to those in just a second. Okay, so as you're reading through the tune, okay, I come over, I've got a pickup note there. I read here. I hit this first repeat sign. At that repeat sign, I go back. Now, it also gives me some instructions down here. Play the head, which is the melody, twice after the solo. So all the way after the solo section, you play the head twice, and then it says D, S, L, and then it gives you the little hash coda sign there. DS, it's in Italian, music notations are in Italian. DS, dal, segno, go to, that's dal, female version there. Dal, if you go back to your Spanish class in high school days, or I guess, yeah, it has to be Spanish, but it's the same in Italian. DS, dal, go to, segno, the S, the sign, that's this little thing, 2 dots and a squiggle, okay? So it's telling me to go back there, and then it says al until you get to the little crosshairs, which is the coda sign. So I would go back to here, read. Then when I get to this coda sign, then I jump to here and play the rest of the song out. I do not play those last 2 bars on the last time through. Everybody got that? So we do that little coda sign, and then that jumps to there, and then we read it on out of there.
Steve,
So
what chords are you referring to on the last 2 bars that we don't do the next time?
The very last time, when you take the coda, I come through here, da, 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 da. I don't play this C minor and the D minor 7, G7. I automatically jump right at that point to here.
Oh,
So
right.
Da, 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 2, 3, 4. Turn around, 2, 3, 4. Da, 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 da. Rest. Da, da, third time. Da, 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 yeah. And that's the little minor ending there.
Cool.
Okay. So that's what that is. I wrote out the melody in the tab there. I thought that would be helpful. For folks, and it seems to be the general consensus is that did help to do that. We have a couple of questions here. Tim Bischoff is saying a diminished 7 arpeggio in C minor will work. If so, how do we resolve it? I'm not quite sure. Tim, can you expound your question?
Yeah. So basically, I tried it myself, and I know it's in C minor. So if you start there on the 8th fret, which would be C, on the 6th string, if you did a diminished 7 arpeggio, that would be the one that I know you know that one.
A C diminished arpeggio.
Right.
Okay.
So if I use that in the jazz song, A, will it work? B, if it doesn't, how do you resolve it?
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a little funky because you've got that being here in minor, you know, you C, E flats, and G's. So this E, that's going to clash with that flat 5 right there. So if I wanted to use that arpeggio, which is cool, I could do it. I would just make it a point to try and resolve that F sharp when you get around to it. Oh, do you see what I did there? And I just resolved up to the G.
Right.
And then I was back into it. So that might be a good way to do that. You can't leave that F sharp, that flat 5 hanging. He does not stand on his own. He wants to either resolve up to the G or maybe to the F. So you could kind of use him as a flat 5 blues sort of a thing. That might be a way to do it as well. But you can't just hit that, again, diminished. He's good for getting you some places. He's not good for landing. So he's great for getting you places. Wonderful. Just throw that in there, but you got to catch the dismount. You always got to catch the dismount and get him resolved. Okay. Good question. Marion is asking, Steve, I liked the minor 7th augmented C minor. I love how it sounds. Yes, let's talk about that for a second. Minor. Okay, here's the deal with minor. We know about major, the harmonized major scale. You know, if I take a major scale and I start stacking thirds and sevenths and whatnot on it, I end up with the 1 being a major seventh, the 2, 3 being minor sevenths, the 4 being a major seventh, the 5 being this unique chord, a dominant seventh, the 6 being another minor, the 7 being a half diminished. That's what it is in major, okay? So, but in minor, the rules are different. Now I go into you know, on page 6 and 7, I kind of go into a big explanation about all that sort of stuff. I don't want to get lost in the weeds on that. Basically, what I want you to understand is minor's different. Minor has, in minor, the 1 and the 4 are not major sevenths, they're minor sevenths. So that's why we have C minors and F minors in this song. The 2, which in major would be a minor seventh, in minor is a minor seventh flat 5, is the half diminished, okay? So 2s become that. 3s, or this flat 3, what it would be in E flat in the key of C minor, ends up being a major seventh. 4 is minor. 5 still is a dominant. That's why we put the B natural in there. Now, if you go purely by the book, it would be a minor seventh. But over the course of time in jazz, we like that dominant, that 5, to be major. So that's why we make that a G seventh. I don't want you to get too lost in the weeds on that. Just kind of know that the 5 still remains a dominant. A dominant resolves to minor, and it resolves to major. 6 becomes this flatted 6th major 7th, and then the 7 becomes this flatted 7th, B flat 7th thing. This is all basically what I wrote out on page 6 and 7. Page 6 and 7. I just kind of want you to understand that minor is different. So if you looked at the chords to Blue Bossa, I notated this on page 8. The C minor, that would be a 1 minor. Da, 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 da. The F now is the 4 minor. Da, da, da. 2 minor 7 flat 5, minor 7 flat 5, half diminished, same thing. Going to an augmented 5.
Yeah.
That is an important combination. Pretty much if you see a minor 7 flat 5 going to an augmented, maybe even a 7 flat 9, I would pretty much bet you $1 that the next chord following that's going to be minor, because you've just set it up as a transition. So that's why that's dominant in a minor setting often becomes augmented or augmented flat 9, something like that. That's just how that typically goes. In the 3rd line, we switch the key of D flat major, switch the tonal center of D flat major, and we give a 2 5 1, 2 5 1, pure D flat major. Nothing tricky about that at all. The last line, I'm back to my minor 2 5, augmented 5 there, and then C minor. So it's a nice little refreshing change from the major world. It's very rich. Minor is a very rich sound that is great for jazz. The rules are just a little bit different for all that. I hear somebody, but I don't know who that is.
Oh no, that's my wife downstairs. I'm sorry, Steve. She's watching TV.
Oh, I thought she had.
Yeah.
I thought she had a question about augmented chords. That was
No.
about ready to. Man, that's an engaged spouse right there.
Oh yeah.
Ask him about the augmented chord. Okay, so let's talk about the basic chords. I wrote those forms out there on page 4. C minor, F minor 7, D minor 7 flat 5, G augmented, C minor, E flat minor. This is really basic. D flat major, D minor 7, G augmented, C minor 7. In Latin, in Bossa, there's a whole lot of inner line movement that is happening with the melody note of the inner line. Okay, listen to any Antonio Carlos Jobim, and it's just magical what he does. You know. It's just, oh, there's so many little lines that are weaving in and out of there. That's a very bossa. That's a very bossa way of approaching it.
Yeah.
So I do on the advanced chords, I give you a little bit more of a taste for that. I turn the C minor 7th into a C minor 9th, added a color tone there. The F minor 7th, I turn into F minor 9th. D minor 7th, flat 5, I left him there. The G augmented, I did a sharp 9, flat 9. Remember that combination. That's going to get real important. And then C minor 7th. E flat, I turned into an E flat minor 11th. A flat 13th, A flat 9. Hear that little line there? Here we get that melody line in the last line. So all of that little melody weaving in and out of there, that's a very bossa thing to do. So that last line would be. I'll play it again. Okay, it's a very, very beautiful way of forming melodic lines. Questions? You guys getting all that? You guys tired, frustrated? Paul, yes.
Yeah, I was trying to write it out, but it takes a long time to write out G augmented 7 sharp 9. So I figured I'd just chime in here. So I looked at the chord chart that you gave us, and then the notes. You also said to write the notes above the chord. Okay. So in the notes, you have a, let me see if I can find it. You have a G, B, E flat, F, and B flat are the notes contained within the G augmented 7 sharp 9. But in the chord symbol, you left out the 7th. Is that typically what's done when you add a color tone? I think you've said this before.
It's not uncommon to when jazz is all about simplifying. And so if you see a C minor in jazz, that means I would never play a C minor, even though it's written C minor. I'd at least play a C minor 7th. Okay, so it's always about adding these extra things. The G augmented, you'll see that a lot of times in jazz, it's just G plus sign. It is, yes, in jazz, everything has got a 4-note chord. So yes, that would be a dominant 7th. Always, pretty much anytime, unless you're in some sort of a specific melodic situation, that would almost always, 99% of the time, would have the 7th on it. Even though it's not written 7th, it would be a G, B, D sharp, F natural. Even though it just says G augmented. Now, if it says, what did I say here? G augmented 7 flat 9 and sharp 9, anything in the parentheses, you just add whatever it's telling you to do there. Sharp 9,
in your chord chart, though, you didn't include the 7th.
Which one are you specifically looking at?
Let's get back to the page. Um, oh, yeah. So let's say page 4
Okay.
in either I guess it's the advanced chords.
Okay.
That doesn't include the seventh. That particular pattern doesn't include the seventh.
Which measure are you looking at specifically?
Advanced chords, and I'm looking at measure 6.
Okay, so you have that, the G augmented seventh. Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, that G augmented seventh with a sharp 9. It does not have the G. You'll notice there's no G in this G augmented seventh sharp 9. It's a rootless voicing, something that jazz loves, because that's why the bass player gets paid the big bucks to go boom, 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 to play all those roots. So me as the guitar player could go. So I don't necessarily have to have the root in my voicing. So in this voicing, a G augmented seventh would be G, which there is none. B, there's the B. D sharp, there's the D sharp. F natural, it's right there. Sharp 9, that's the sharp 9 up here. Then flat 9, resolving that C minor seventh. I would put if you think about it, this little finger combination, that is a very handy chord in jazz. We're going to use that chord in a variety of different settings. So get used to that form, because you're going to see that form all the time. Okay, so you'll see it a little bit today, you'll see it next week. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is again. There it is again. Same chords. Okay, so you get used to that little form. That's a kind of a utility knife in jazz. You can do a lot of stuff with that particular combination of chords. Okay. Any other questions about the chords before we move on to bigger and better things?
Steve, this is Jim.
Hey, Jim.
So, I'm sorry, you may have addressed this, but I have to ask this question. So the music's is the key signature is E flat.
Yes.
But I don't see any E flats other than the E flat minor, which is actually the D flat scale. So I don't quite. I mean, I certainly could play the music, but I just find that interesting.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Okay, Nicholsworth theory. C minor. Every major key has a minor key that is its relative minor. They call it. So they're cousins. They're always together. In C major, it's A minor. They share the same key signature. So if you think of a major scale, goes from C to shining C, okay? Well, a scale is more than just those 8 notes. It goes down this direction, it goes up that direction. So it keeps going, and also keeps going down. Well, if I just take the whole thing and move down 2 steps, still in the key of C, I end up with, see, what's called a natural minor scale. They share the same key signature, C major, A minor, C major, A minor. They share the same key signature, no sharps or flats. Well, if I go to C minor, its relative major is E flat major, okay? So that's why the key signature, which are not random, key signatures are very specific. It's always going to be in the key of E flat, you're going to see B flats, E flats, and A flats in the key signature. But Steve, it doesn't have an E flat in the song. I don't care. you're in the room of E flat, and the definition of the key in the room of E flat is B flat, E flat, and A flat. Now, whether it actually gets around to hitting an E flat in the song is irrelevant, really. That just defines the key that you're in. That's why that E flat is there, even though we don't have any E flats in the whole dumb song. So that's what's happening there. Now, one of the tricks that I tried to clumsily explain to you on page 6 was this harmonic minor scale, the idea of the harmonic minor scale. So let's talk about that for a second. In C major, we just said that if I go from A to A in the key of C major, it's an A natural minor, which is very good. It's a very helpful scale. You use it all the time, especially in rock and roll, stuff like that. But if you do the chords out for that, it ends up sounding very modal. What child is this? Da 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 da. Very modal. So way back, in the 1500s, some crazy monk said, "Hey, I like that leading tone. That sounds good. So let's not play let's keep that leading tone in there going to the tonic. That way we can have the 5, which we like. The 5 dominant resolving to the minor there. That's where the harmonic minor scale was born. So that's why this scale ends up being a little bit different. So if I transpose that to C minor, sorry. Okay, so at the bottom of page 6 where I have those 2 little chord diagrams with the things of those scales, that's important. That's probably the most important thing on that page. I'm sorry it was so small. If it was in order of importance, that would be much larger. The harmonic minor scale is a very handy scale to play in minor because it has that leading tone. Dum, da, 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 dum. So it's you can noodle around on it really nicely. Okay, so that's a good scale to know. Very good scale to know. Hey, but Steve, will my pentatonics work? You bet. But if you get bored with pentatonics, well, I can throw my blues note, sure. Okay, that's where our lick of the week came from. But if you get bored of all that, you can do this little harmonic minor scale. So it's a very useful scale, especially in minor, for soloing and things like that. Just gives you another option for that.
You can use that same solo and just do one thing. In my head, I tried adding the Phrygian, the flat 2. Can you do that in that scale and make it work, or no?
Whew, that's a good question. Okay, so Phrygian, you said, which would be the 3 in a major key. So in C major, that would be starting on the E. So if I transpose that to C minor or the E flat, that would mean we would start with a G. Sorry, you can tell how much I play in Phrygian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would work. It would work.
Cool.
It would give you the leading tone, but it would still work. Yeah, still work great.
Cool.
Yeah, just another option. Hey, Nick, yeah, unmute yourself there. Wait a minute. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. The harmonic minor scale is used quite in Middle Eastern music and
Yeah.
in Byzantine music.
Yeah.
Okay. They, the mix, that harmonic minor is, that's it. It's just a great scale to throw that color in there. It's beautiful. Yes.
And there's all kinds of minor scales that have all kinds of variations of little twists on them, and you can really go down a wonderful rabbit trail on learning some of those. This is one of the most helpful. The harmonic minor, that's one of the ones that actually is very useful with soloing and things like that. Hey, I included the sample solo this time just because I thought it might be helpful for you guys to see, some different thoughts. Not that there's any sort of real brilliance in this solo, but it does kind of illustrate on page 10 and 11 some thoughts. Okay, the first of them is, if you're soloing, when in doubt, stay close to the melody. You can never go wrong being close to the melody, and then just elaborating it a little bit. If the melody goes, okay, well, can I elaborate that in some way? Okay, so you see, it's still the melody. I just kind of fiddle around with the rhythm a little bit. Occasionally I'd go another extra note up or down. I'm just kind of elaborating on the melody. That's a good one tool in your tool belt when you're trying to solo. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. Play the melody and elaborate on it. Just kind of stay close, and then every now and then wind your way back to the melody. That's a good way to do it. So in the sample solo, I kind of showed you where I would stay close to the melody. And then in that third bar, when it gets to the F major or F minor seventh, I kind of wrote little notes of showing what it is and why it's working. The F major or F minor seventh, I did the old super arpeggio substitution there of going up to an A flat, the third of the F minor, and doing a major seventh. And then going back down to the F. Okay? So it's a very pleasing little thing. Sorry. Okay, so there's nothing mystical about that. I went right up that arpeggio and then back down to the F. And the next line. Okay, that's right out of the melody again. Sorry. Hey, let's do the last week's lick of the week. Okay, that worked perfectly over my G augmented sharp 9. Okay, in the third line, we're in the key of D flat major. So I just walked up the D flat major scale. It starts on an E flat, so I thought I'd start on the E flat. Sorry, what am I doing? It's just in thirds, the D flat major scale in thirds. With a little bit of rhythm. Ending up on the two notes that jazz likes, the seventh and the third. What do I have to end there? Okay, let me pause right there. G augmented seventh sharp 9. Does that have a B natural or a B flat in it? It's a trick question. It's got them both in it.
Oh, it's a quiz. What's the question?
Question. A G augmented seventh with a sharp 9 has a G, a B natural, D sharp, F, and an A sharp, which is the same as a B flat. So it does have a B and a B flat in it. So that's why I could play either, and it functions well over that chord. Okay, that was one of the questions we had in the last Zoom meeting. On page 11, it continues. I played my little lick of the week. Sorry. Same thing, my A flat major 7th. But instead of going like I did the first time, I just did it in thirds. Third.
Right.
Okay. Right up the C harmonic minor scale. But you got to catch the dismount to that C. Okay. The E minor 7th, I did a descending arpeggio. Right, I mean, that's a E minor 7th arpeggio, just backwards. Just like our lick of the week, basically, from last week. Ending on the 3rd. See how I'm winding my way to thirds and things. Same thing, the melody like we did before. 2, 3, 4. Descending harmonic minor scale, catching the dismount. Ending back up on the C. So I thought that might be helpful to you to kind of show a little bit, demystify soloing and how that, some of these ideas and how that's working.
That was really good. I'm glad you threw that in there. That helped me a bunch.
Good, good. I know when I'll look at other solos, it really helps me to say, oh, wow, what was that lick? It sounded amazing. You look at it and you go, oh, it was just an arpeggio that he did there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on that. I've enjoyed playing on this sample solo. That's kind of given me some ideas as to what to try when I've been trying to do a little bit of it on my own with the play along tracks on it.
Good, good. Great, Jim. Ed, yes.
Steve, when you compose a solo, do you do this, do you fly by the seat of your pants, or do you actually sit down and compose? Because this would be a great a solo if I were to compose this, which I don't think I could, but I would have to sit down and think about these things. It doesn't just come naturally.
Well, and the short answer is, am I flying by the seat of my pants? Most of my life, yes.
Yes. No, but I mean, it's great. It sounds wonderful. Maybe I should have phrased that differently.
No, exactly right. I mean, in the heat of battle, you got different tools that you're trying at any point in time, and sometimes magic happens, and sometimes you fall on your face. So this one, I was able to craft a solo that does what I wanted it to do. So part of the reason it works so perfectly is because I sat back and went, okay, I need to get from here to there. How can we do that? I need to show them this. So yes, no, there was a lot of thought that went into that solo. That wasn't just, Steve just blurbed out something and wrote it down. No, wouldn't that be great? Then I'd be Johnny Island.
I was going to say, the songs are pretty fast.
Yeah. So I might try and do more of that if we can
Excellent.
Have the time to do that, because that did take a bunch of time, but I thought it was so helpful to see how they're how the ideas connect together. Because sometimes if you just look at it and said, oh, well, Steve said to do thirds and sevenths, so I'm going to do thirds and sevenths, you end up with a solo that sounds like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just this jagged line that doesn't make any sense. So it's a good exercise to force you to think about thirds and sevenths, but it doesn't make for a very melodic solo as you're winding your way through. So, good question. Anything else you guys have been thinking about or wrestling with or found interesting about this song?
Need about another 2 weeks to work on it.
Yeah. We're running through the content quickly, and I'm creating a boatload of content. Sorry, what was this one? 11 pages? Yeah, yeah.
It's great.
Paulette is saying, you know, you can't keep this level of creating all of this content every week up. Well, I'll do my best. So until they start, you know, begging for mercy that we're not going to cover it all, then I'll know that I've hit the wall. But I want to try and give you guys as much as I can to help you learn.
If we plagiarize some of this when we send our videos in for your solo?
Yes, no, do whatever you need to. Those of you that are sending me videos, those have been great. Just send them to. We've had to kind of learn how to do this and what's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
YouTube has been upload your video to YouTube, send me the link. Then I'll upload my video to YouTube and send you the link. That's kind of how this has been working best as we've kind of worked our way through it the last few days.
So not to, Steve, in order to do that, what do we do with YouTube? We have to like sign up for their video.
Yeah, if you are, you need to, basically what's involved with that, Nick, is you have to get a Google account, which I think I get a Gmail account, and then I could go onto YouTube and you could log in using that Gmail account, and then suddenly you're logged in as Nick in YouTube, and you'll notice a little icon will appear up there that says, you know, you can upload things. And so you just get that movie file from your phone or from your computer or whatever, and upload it, and then just send me the link, and then I can look at that upload. Because we have problems with, you know, people in various, you know, oh, my file's too big, I can't email it, that sort of problem. So
you can.
Seem to help out.
You only get like 20 megabytes on an email, 20, 25, whatever.
Also, if you are not on our Facebook page, the Jazz Academy Facebook page, which I've sent the link out a couple times, I encourage you to get on there. That's a lot of folks have been sharing some great ideas and thoughts and things on that. Hey, Ron, did I see you have a question?
Yeah. Yes, Steve. On the YouTube lessons that you have done, how long do you plan to leave them up on YouTube?
Well, these, like for all of me and Bossa and Blue Bossa and things like that, those are going to be up. Now, not everybody has the link. Only you guys have the link. But they're up there, and they will remain up there. Yeah, I'm not taking those down. Now, what I will take down is my video responses back to you guys for when you send me your video and stuff like that. Hey, Ron, you ought to try this, and I'll do a little 5-minute video. Well, I can quickly see in about 3 months I'm going to have, you know, 50 or 60 different videos cluttering up our YouTube channel back there. So I might, you know, after a few months after this cycle of those, I may start thinning out my response videos to individual people on that. But the videos for these songs, those will be up, and y'all will have the links to those as long as you have the links. So yeah, they're yours. So
good,
great.
Next week we've got Misty, and I'm working on it now. Our first ballad, so that's going to be another layer of things we want to do. Got some chord. We'll get back to some chord melody things on that, and so that'll be a good. Try to kind of cover some different aspects of things. That's going to be a good one. We've got to work on that. Tim.
Yeah, Steve, I'm glad to hear that that'll be up for a while, because as I talk to you, I'm the bottom of the curve when it comes to jazz. But, you know, somebody has to be.
There you go.
And I don't mind. You know, I don't mind. So, yeah, when you're saying about we need a couple of weeks, I need a couple more months. But fortunately, from, you know, coming up doing this, it's exactly what I wanted to do. I'm learning more theory in the last 2 weeks than I have in my past 72 years.
Oh, my goodness. There you go.
So, well, I have to say I knocked off guitar for 45 years, but I did other things.
Good. Well, it's good to be learning. Keeps your mind fresh. Tim, did you have a question?
Yeah, I put it in the chat. I'll just read it.
How to transpose this to A minor. Would this be the least amount of flats and sharps? Yes, it would be. In A minor, that would be the least amount of flats and sharps. Well, if we want to transpose the song in A minor, okay, there you go. Okay, for me, I just have to think of, okay, that's the G, which would be the fifth of C minor. The fifth is C, E flat, G. So I got to relate that then to, in A minor, the fifth would be an E, and then I have to relate everything from that. If you want this in A minor, shoot me an email.
Okay.
Because it would be about 3 clicks of a mouse, and I could make this in A minor for you.
Nice.
So if that would be of any help to everybody, now it's not going to go along with the tracks, but if that would help to you, then whereas not so many flats, then let me know, and I'll shoot me an email, service at Guitar Gathering, and yeah, for me to explain it to you would take longer than for me to just do it. It's just, yeah, cut and paste. Cut and paste.
One other quick question, Steve. I tried playing back our Zoom chat from last week, and I don't know what other people in the group have had success with, but I haven't had any success playing it back.
I know it has to convert. So, and then it lands somewhere on your computer. I've got a file deep in there that these land on, but I know it has to convert first. It's in its Zoom format or whatever. So after I'm done, or after I end the meeting, and I'm assuming if you record it, it should, as soon as you end, it'll say, do you want to convert it? And you say yes at that point. And then your computer churns for about 5 minutes, and it'll eventually spit out in a Zoom. I found mine in a Zoom folder. That it was, I think, an MOV file or MP4 or something like that.
Mine was MP4.
MP4, okay.
MP4.
Right, MP4.
And then I just move it over to the folder I have for this class.
Yeah. So that, yeah, you may, the trick may have been that allowing it to convert. And if you go do something else, it won't convert all the way. It may stop in the middle of it or something. So you gotta let it convert. Yeah. That's the deal with that.
So Steve, I have a question about, I'm already thinking ahead, but you have a class starting again. So how are we going to sign up for that? I mean, because you already signed up. When will it be available?
All right. So this is, you can sign up now if you want to sign up for the next 4 weeks, which will start in, September. So like, I don't have my calendar here with me, but we'll go, next week is Misty, or this week is Misty. Week after that will be Satin Doll.
Oh, yeah.
We will get into the next month. And so you can register, just sign up again, register online, and that'll get you for the next month. So
will it be the same material, Steve?
We're going to go through 4 different standards. So I think we're going to try and hit all the things you are. I wanted to do a Girl from Ipanema, and we'll pick another couple. So yeah, if you guys have any requests for that, requests for songs, let me know. But
does Deficit Auto fit in there? Is that too complex?
That's a great one too. We'll do Girl from Ipanema first, because that one does kick up the complexity a little bit. Hey, if you're interested in Bossa, man, go into YouTube and type in Antonio Carlos Jobim.
Yeah.
Aobim. Antonio Carlos Jobim. See if you can get actual stuff with actually him playing on it. It's brilliant. It's the master of taking 3 strings and going. And so it's just, he's creating all of these textures and harmonies with just a limited amount of strings. And it's beautiful. It's a very different approach to guitar playing, and it's gorgeous. Yeah, so if you're interested and really want to get in the vibe of it, go listen to a little bit of Jobim. But yeah, if you want to sign up for next month, You can do that now if you want to. Just sign up again, and that'll put you on to next month. And we'll do it again. This was kind of my test month to see if this is working, and it is gloriously working. Everybody is just uber engaged with it, so I'm really, really pleased at how much folks are learning from it. I'm really thrilled. I think we can cover some real good ground with it. So that's good. So anyway,
Steve.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever heard of Jam Kazam?
Say that one more time.
Have you ever heard of Jam Kazam?
Somebody was saying something to me about that. I haven't checked it out. What is that?
Yeah, I just received an email from them. I joined them a couple of years back. And what they do is they provide as latency free as you can get, and pretty high fidelity,
And you're playing with other people.
As opposed to Zoom, all these Zoom meetings, they're lacking like that. And there's a couple of different levels. There's the free level, okay? And that's like if you want to play like 4 people at the same time. If you go to jamkazam.com, okay, they have their little sample videos up there. You might be interested in doing that because you could do large, audiences with that.
Yeah.
So
I will check that out. I had some other folks give me some information on that. I hadn't had a chance to check it out with.
The only thing is everybody's got to get an audio interface card, so you can get one for about $50 and plug it right into your router. Instead of going Wi-Fi, you go right into your, straight in the back with an Ethernet card, an Ethernet cable. And you'll get, pretty latency free, but they're still working out the bugs. Okay. So, they claim they've got whereas before they had 17% of people had dropouts. Well, now they have 99.8% smooth sailing. Good. So, they haven't improved it. So just, want to throw that at you. Maybe you can make that useful for your,
There's also a program it's free. It's called Jamulus. I've used both of them. And what Jam Kazam offers, which is pretty cool, are backing tracks, and they're multi-tracked. So you can mute tracks. You can have a default vocalist sing, or you could be the vocalist and have music, and it's musicians that have. So those are tracks, but they also have in real time. You play with other players.
Yes,
and distance matters. So I mean, I've played with people in Florida and Toronto, Canada. I'm in Cleveland, and the further away they are, there's a lag, so they have a small echo in their signal, and it's actually okay because you have a natural reverb most of the time you want anyway. But Jamulus is public domain; it's free. Yeah. So you guys might check both those out. There's some technical things about setting them up, as he indicated, like the digital audio interface things. But it's very cool. You meet some pretty cool cats. It's
very cool.
And it's all audio. There's no video. It's all audio.
Yeah, you're in Cleveland, Ohio.
And you may want to also check out the iReal Pro if y'all haven't checked out that app, the iReal Pro. That is another thing that it does real book tracks, but you can slow them down, speed them up, change keys, leave them in the same key, bring the bass out, add the piano, all kinds of things. I think it's $19. It's well worth it for practice. So.
Jam Kazam doing a crowdsource funding, and at some point, this is a coming program. So there really isn't anybody else there doing what they're doing besides Jamulus. So it's an interesting company to be watching.
Yeah, and this is video. It is video as.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that. I've only done the audio side. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys
have one question.
Any more questions? Let me know. We will got to get to the next class.
Okay, Steve. I'm left-handed, okay? So my choices in guitars are very limited. It's a lot better than it used to be. But I noticed you playing, it was a Canadian guitar, nylon string, electric. Was it Seagull? Or, You know, would you recommend one of those?
Yeah, I
'Cause,
like it. I
yeah.
like it. It's a cool little guitar. It's a very. I
Right?
bought it for one specific purpose. It's nylon string, and it won't feed back.
Right.
But those are great little instruments. Very light touch, very, very light touch. You got to have a real
Yes.
light touch with them. But yeah, for a nylon string, they have steel string ones too.
Yeah.
And they're great instruments. Nothing but good things to say about them.
All right.
Yeah. All right, I got to go to the next
Thank you,
class.
Steve.
You guys are great. Keep practicing.
Thank you,
Practicing.
Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
All right.
Okay.
Learn all you can. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Leave.
See you, Steve.
See you, Tim. Have a
I
good.
sent you something on your Facebook.
Good. Glad you did. I'll take a look at it when I'm done with this.
Okay, thank you so much. You're so intelligent.
Learn all you can. Take care.
Okay, see you next week. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Hello there, friends.
Hello, Steve.
All of you crazy nuts. Shouldn't y'all be doing something official tonight? There's got to be more important things to do. I don't know. Maybe this is more. Maybe this is important. I think it is. We'll try. Let me go through here and allow everybody to record if you want to. Let me get that. Joel, good to see you. Alvin, good to see you. Patrick, I was just talking with a guy about a Godin guitar, telling him how great they were. Thinking about you. Bill, good to see you. Miss Peggy.
Hi, Steve.
Good to see you, Peggy. We're going to get to some of your questions there, if we can.
Okay.
I like your you make me think on the questions. Which is good. How I'm going to answer them. That's good.
Sometimes I think too hard. That's my problem. I don't just play.
There you go. Okay. We'll wait a minute or two while folks are getting logged in here. Okay, we've got the chat going as well. So if you'd like to ask me a question, you can just type it into the chat, and I can see that over here, so I can see anything you type in as well. Did everybody have a good day? Good. All right. Good. Rex had a good day. Rex, where are you from? You're in New Zealand, or are you in Australia? Yeah, let me unmute you here. There you go.
A little town called Yakandanda. It's central, not central like Nashville, but it's inland a bit, between Sydney and Melbourne.
There you
There's
go.
2 pointers for you.
So what time of day is it there?
It's wonderful, mate. It's 11 a.m.
Good. Well, welcome.
Okay.
Welcome. Lauren, good to see you up there.
Oh, I was just going to say hi, Steve. Nice to see you and everyone else as well. Thank you.
You bet. Glad you're here. We just finished up the 7 o'clock meeting, and that one was man, they were really going. We started off a little slow. Nobody wants to talk. And then by the end, everybody's asking me so many questions, we can't keep up. So, good. Well, hey, Blue Bossa. Did you guys enjoy Blue Bossa this week?
Yeah.
Good, good. It's different. It's not swing like All of Me would be swing. I wanted to introduce you to something minor. So this gets us into the world of minor, and then plus gets us into the world of Latin. In All of Me, we have swing eighth notes. Da, 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 this triplet rhythm. All of me, why not take all of me? One and a two and a three and a four. So it's got this triplet sort of feel with it. Latin does not have that. Latin is straight. So it's a straight eighths. So I wanted to introduce you to that. But along with the straight eighths, it's a lot of upbeats, as you noticed. There's a lot of it's almost all upbeats. So it's a little tricky to read sometimes when you're trying to do Latin stuff. But it's really great. Came over here to the U.S. in the 50s and 60s with Stan Getz and Antonio Carlos Jobim and João Gilberto and all these great musicians that brought this here. But so Blue Bossa is a good introduction to all that. The melody, let's just talk about the melody for a second. The melody is shorter than All of Me. Okay, All of Me was kind of a, what did we say? A, B, A, C, A, sort of a form. This is pretty much AA. So it's a different type of form. So we do the melody twice since it's just 16 bars long. Now you'll notice, unlike All of Me, which was so low that we played it low and we played it also high, this one is kind of more mid-range. It doesn't have such a large range, so we just kind of put it in one area. I mean, you could play it up an octave, but you're way up here in the stratosphere. You're way up there, so everybody just kind of plays it in the mid-range there. So I threw it in the third position. That seems to work out easiest for it. And let me talk you through.
I have a question, Steve.
Yeah, Skip.
I was noticing all the ties that are in this melody. Sometimes it gets confusing to just keep, the beat with all the ties, figuring out, the next beat. Any comments about that?
Ties are tricky. Yeah. You're going to see them a lot with the upbeats. Anytime you have upbeats, you're going to have ties. They kind of come hand in hand. So, 1, 2, 3. All the upbeats, upbeats. Upbeat, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, 3, 2, 3. It's all upbeats. I wouldn't overly worry about 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 4, and I wouldn't overly worry with that. Just try to get the feel of it. Once you start listening to the bossas and the Latin a little bit more, you'll get the feel a little bit. Where it may seem very unfamiliar to you right now. The more you read a few more bossas, you'll kind of get the feel of that that it's always doing. And that's just Latin. And we did several music conferences in Santiago, Chile, and Lima, Peru, and Arequipa, Peru, and things like that. And wow, everything's on the upbeat. I would give my right arm for a downbeat every now and then. It's just it's just like, oh gosh, where's one? That became my mantra. Just somebody give me one every now and then, because everything else was just it's all upbeat. So, but you get better at reading that. So I know that's tricky. It's tricky to write. It's tricky to read. Sometimes it helps Skip to just write in above. If you're unsure of where things are at, write in. Okay, I know that first one is going to be 1 and 2. Then the other thing has to be on the end of 2. And some things you may not know. I don't know where that's going to come out. We'll just define what you can. I know that this is going to be 3 and, so that means that this must be the end of 2 or whatever. So sometimes you can diagram it like that, and that'll help. You know, worst comes to worst, draw lines. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. 4 is on that rest. You know, you start drawing lines and things too. While we're talking about this, a couple folks had some questions about this, so let me kind of take you through the roadmap here. All right, so if I'm reading through this, here's the pickup note. Now there's a repeat sign there, but the first time I just keep going, play over it, play over this, play over that, play over here. Now there's a little coda sign right there. I don't pay attention to that just yet. I get to here where we have the repeat sign, and then I go back to here. I don't do that. Don't do the pickup. I go right back to there. But it also gives me some instructions down here. It says play the head. The head is the melody. Play it twice after the solos. Okay, so after the solos, then you do this other little, what it's telling you to do here. So how the song works is you play the head twice, melody twice, then you keep repeating this for solos. You know, Patrick will do a solo, and then Greg will do a solo, and then Joel will do a solo. Everybody does solos. When we're done, we're going to go through play the head again twice. And then it says after the solos, you DS, dal segno, all right, in Italian there. Dal means go to, S segno, which is this sign, this little 2 dots and a squiggle. That's the segno sign. So that means after the solos, I go back to this, read it, but it also says al, which means until, the little crosshairs, which is the coda sign in music. So that means after the solos, I jump back to here, play this, but then when I get to here, right here, I jump and continue reading on down here. So I do not play these last 2 bars the very last time. Do you see what happens? I go there, da 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 da. Now I jump, da. 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 da, and I play that little tag 3 times. Cool.
While we're in that section, Steve.
Yeah.
In that coda, is the A7 sharp 9. I don't know what to do with that chord.
This is not well written in that sense. He's just, that's the 5 of the D minor 7 flat 5, if you want to think of it that way. It's the 5 of that 2 minor 7 flat 5 that's coming. But it doesn't particularly sound too good, does it?
No.
So it's a little odd sounding, isn't it? What could you do over that? You could do a D harmonic minor scale. And then you back to the C minor scale for the D minor 7 flat 5, or the D minor 7 flat 5. It's just a passing chord. It's just a way to get you back to that D minor. Now, the reason I'm hesitating on that is because back in the original, you don't have that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You don't have that. In fact, you don't have that B flat, which is right here in the other thing. You don't have that. You don't have that little turnaround, that A augmented. You just don't have that. This is the original. This is the illegal real book right here. So I don't know why Hal Leonard, when they created this version of it, they added a chord or two, and they added that tag. I don't know why. It's not on the original, so I don't know why they did that, but they did. Now you'll also notice that the chords in the original are simple. It goes to a G seventh, not a G augmented seventh with a sharp 9. It just leaves that up to the player to add those if you want that. But originally it was written with just a simplified version of it. So just some thoughts on that. Cool. I wrote out the melody in tab. Some folks had requested that I write out the melody in tab, that would be helpful. So I wrote that out. Was that helpful to anybody?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'll see if I can do that in the future. The first two lines are pretty solidly in C minor. Well, lines 1, 2, and 4. In the third line is we go to the tonal center of D flat major. Okay, and we get a 2, 5, 1 in D flat major. So it's just a good little variation of the from being in that traditional C minor. I wanted to introduce this because minors, you're not going to see minor all the time, but you are going to see it, and the rules are slightly different. In minor, the 1 is minor, C minor. The 4 is minor, as opposed to in major, the 1 and the 4 are major sevenths. But in minor, 1 and 4 are minor. Now also in the 2 is not a minor, it's a minor 7th flat 5 in minor. The 2 is a little bit more specified, minor 7 flat 5. The 5, it is, I don't want to get too lost in the woods with the theory, but the 5 is still a 5. That's why that G7 is still there. But a lot of times you'll see an augmented on it if it's in minor. So generally, if I see a minor 7 flat 5 going to an augmented dominant, I would pretty much bet a buck that the next chord after that's going to be a minor, because you've set it up for a minor resolution there. So anyway, that's just a little bit about how minor works. The rules are slightly different than they are in major. So I on page 6 and 7, I think I go into a little bit of down a rabbit trail of why that is. So you can look at that if you're interested in how that works. But anyway, that's the melody. Any questions on the melody part of things?
I have one other question. So does it really end on a D? I mean, it doesn't seem to resolve to anything.
Again, that's one of the, I don't know, maybe the Hal Leonard transcriber somewhere in a cubicle in New York felt he was going to get a little creative on that. That's not how the original is. So it does now. That would end on basically the 9th. So it kind of gets this minor 9th thing happening there. So maybe somewhere somebody did an arrangement that did that, and they thought they would add that little lick in there. I've heard it both ways on the bandstand. It's not in there on the original, doing it that way. But yes, it does. that would not be uncommon to see that. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at page 4, the basic chords. Basic chords, okay? Nothing too unusual here. C minor 7th with a bar, 5th string version. F minor 7th with the 6th string version there. D minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished, same thing. G augmented or G augmented 7th. C minor. Okay. E flat minor 7, just scooting it up. A flat 7, D flat major 7, 2 5 1 and D flat. Yeah, it's in C minor. So you've got a lot of flats. Sorry about that. You're gonna have flats in jazz. Now the advanced chords, I just start adding. I change that C minor 7th to a C minor 9th. A little more jazzy, a little bit more characteristic in bossa. Okay, F minor 9th, same thing here. D minor 7 flat 5, that's the same. Oh, measure 6th. A G augmented sharp 9 to a flat 9. I want everybody to look at this particular finger combination and get used to that, because that's going to be a little finger combination that is very useful in jazz. You're going to do this little combination over all kinds of musical scenarios. So get used to that. That's a very useful chord. It's the Swiss Army knife of jazz right there. Let me also mention, if you guys want to record this Zoom meeting, you should all be able to record at this point. Just hit that little record button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So that little thing there gets us conveniently back to the C minor 7th. E flat minor 11th. I guess what I want you to see on this is that in bossa, these little melodic little lines that are happening here are part of the rhythm. That little line there. This little line here. That little combination there. This little combination here. Okay, that little weaving in and out of this line is a very jazz thing. That's a very jazz way to do things. Listen to a little bit of Jobim, and it's just filled with those beautiful little nuances. So it's just all these little lines that are weaving in and out. That's a very bossa way to approach things. So I thought I would throw some of that in there. Is that the only way to do it? No. Is that the best way to do it? Probably not. It's just okay, creates a little melody line. And if you're accompanying, those little melody lines are helpful to create a line that makes more guitar sense. Any questions on any of those sorts of things?
I have a general question on the.
Yeah, Greg.
The jazz is new to me, so some of this is kind of rudimentary. But on the looking at the chord charts, are there notes in there that we shouldn't be hitting that aren't specifically X'd out? I'm sort of thinking of I'm looking at the D minor 7 flat 5. Seems like you wouldn't have an E in that chord.
Right, and you don't. Generally on these, since they're so small, I don't generally put the X's
Okay.
on things you're not supposed to play. I just put the dots on what you should play. So
Okay.
on that D minor 7 flat 5, for example, you would only play where the fingers are down. I wouldn't play those at all. Okay. But Steve, they're not X'd out. It's just too small to do that.
Okay.
So a lot of times you'll just see it as just the notes that should be down are the only things that's
And the other one I hit was the G augmented 7th. It seemed like I needed to mute out the A string there. Didn't
and
sound like
yes,
that.
you would not play the A string. You'd only play the 4th string down to the 1st.
Okay. All right. Good.
Good question. The Bossa finger style rhythm. To simplify it, root, 5th, and root, 5th. If I go to the next chord, it's root, 5th, root, 5th, but I add this syncopated rhythm on the top of it. If I do the F minor, I have to switch my fingers around, but the rhythm stays the same. Now, so that's the first version of it. The more elaborate version of it takes that rhythm, which was just 1 bar long, and makes it a 2-bar rhythm. So you end up with you add that little pop in it. I'm just muting out. I'm not pushing down. I'm just touching the string. So that's all that's happening there. And why that is because that's what bass players do, and you're imitating a bass player at that point using the fleshy part of your finger, and you're imitating a bass player. And I found out that bass players don't just go, they have all this other stuff in there. All these little pops and thumps and things in there. So when I'm trying to imitate a bass player, I'll try and include a little bit of that. So, and it's a lot of upbeats. Sorry about that. But that's a good little rhythm to have. I mean, and I'm telling you, I don't do a whole lot different than that. I mean, I may vary that rhythm up, but that's pretty much the rhythm.
So the basic one is pretty much just like Travis picking.
It's a lot like Travis picking. Yes, in a Latin world. If you were in Brazil, it's Travis picking for Brazilians. That independence. Now, the guys that really do it, oh man, it's beautiful. It's just glorious. I mean, I put up a video on the Guitar Gathering Facebook page today by The Master. It is just, man, just watch his hand go on an 8-string guitar, by the way, and he is brilliant. So, yeah, the guys that really do this, yeah, can take that rhythm and get it infinitely more complex. But I thought I would kind of introduce that rhythm to you because I thought that might be helpful. Any questions on any of that kind of stuff?
I was also working around trying to get the 1 and the 5 and some of those chords. Seems like you got to move off of it or something.
And some of them you won't get them.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Like the C minor, that works pretty good. C, F. That's or C and G. It's
Right.
the F minor, F, C. D minor 7 flat 5. There would be the 5, but I don't want the 5. I want the flat 5.
Right.
Oh, what about the G augmented? Well, there's just not one handy.
Yeah.
So on the G augmented, I mean, you just doesn't grab it. So you just kind of fake it, or whatever do. You just kind of hang on the G, and then back to. There, I could do it again. So it's just a little anomaly there.
Right.
Not every one of them is going to be perfect. Yeah. In jazz, sometimes you'll see 7-string guitars, and they'll have the low string. They've got an extra low string, so it goes, from the top: E, B, G, D, A, E, A. They'll have another octave there beneath it on a 7-string guitar. Now, an 8-string guitar like the guy was playing, I don't know what they have on those. That would be, I'll have to figure that out. The lick of the week with those double stops, that's a great lick. You can use that in minor. You can use it in blues. So that's a great little lick to use. Yeah, Lauren. You'll have to unmute yourself. Hang on a second.
There we go.
Here you go.
Thanks. Sorry, just I know we forged ahead a little bit, but just real quick, just back to the chords. You asked if we had any questions, and in the basic chords, we've got, like in the G augmented 7th chord here, we actually have we've got the root there on the 3rd fret. But in the more advanced chords, the G augmented 7th sharp 9 to the G augmented 7th flat 9, we've got the F in the bass. But I take it doesn't, like when I play it, it sounds perfectly fine. But how is it that without having the G, without having the root in the bass, it just works because of the melody line?
In jazz, especially in jazz guitar, I don't have to play the roots all the time. The bass is generally covering the roots. The bass guitar in that group, he would be playing the roots. That's his only job, is to play the roots. So I wouldn't be playing the roots near as, I don't have to play them. I can play all the stuff that's colorful and wonderful up there. So that way, that G augmented sharp 9 flat 9 combination. You still kind of hear it, but it's not being played. I mean, you can play it if you got enough fingers to do it.
Yeah, and thank you, Steve, because when I try to incorporate it with the root, it didn't seem necessary to have it there. And you and I have talked about that chord shape before, which just sounds beautiful. So I'm just glad to know that I'm not, making the piece. It didn't sound bad at all. So thank you. I appreciate that.
The rootless voicings.
Yeah.
As we get more advanced, the rootless voicings are going to be something we'll use more and more. So get used to the idea of a rootless voicing. That, especially that particular chord combination there, you're going to use that a lot in jazz. Rootless voicing is something you're going to see a lot. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, through. Okay. The most interesting part of this for me is the licks that you have here. And I'm having trouble with that lick that you played just a short while ago. Would you mind playing that slowly for me?
What the deal is, here's the deal. it's a double stop, what we call in the biz, a double stop. So you're playing two strings at the same time. Now, if I did it finger style, it would be, I generally do, I'm playing the lower notes with my thumb, and I'm playing the upper notes with, I seem to be using my middle finger. So my middle finger's playing this, I've got this barred, and my middle finger's playing that high C. And my lowest thumb is playing everything else. I'm not doing anything else. So I'm only using those two.
Okay.
Now, if I did that with a pick, that takes away one of my fingers. So I've only got, I then have to use my ring finger for that. Now, it doesn't have to be those exact notes. And it is a little, technically, if you haven't done these double stops before, you're gonna have to sit on your bed a little bit and go. Just to get the feel of it. But once you get it, you kind of go, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. It's just a little trick at adding that high octave C. It's just a
Thanks.
little trick, and that'll help with that.
It'll take a while, but I'll keep trying.
You'll get it. You'll get it. Slow it down, and just work on the motion of it. I'm just hitting the third and the first. Third string, the first string. So I would practice that first, just kind of play the top note with everything. And then you can work on
very quickly.
It doesn't have to be that exact. I mean, I just wrote that particular variation of it, but you can do 100 different variations of it. The idea is that you have both of them going at the same time. That's the one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good job. Hey, Patrick.
Okay, as we're moving along in there, well, you saw my playing a little while ago, a couple of months ago, and I'm playing a lot of that style.
Good.
And I just realized it just hit me this week while working on the song, and I went back to the jazz for arpeggio you did a couple of years ago. And I really got stuck at about the 20-minute mark where you see, oh, it can go there, it can go there, it can go there.
Yeah.
And then as I realized that these little 4 pages of that is hiding in the bonus resource book, it is such a big part of everything I'm playing.
Yeah.
And I'm missing that link. I've been working hard on the major scale, and I know a bunch of chords, and I've been playing arrangement, and I was trying to follow along the super arpeggio one, which I understand the concept and everything, but now I realize that I have to work on these arpeggios, because that's it. You can't play jazz, you can't play this stuff if you don't know them.
Yeah, so much of it is based off of those arpeggios.
So what's your
involved with that?
thought of how to approach them and how to play them? Because I was watching few things and reading few blogs, and yet the arpeggios seems to be coming one of the most important thing, after a bunch of those chords.
Right.
So what's your suggestion on how to approach them and how to play them, mistakes I should avoid while learning them. Let's say the first shape, should you bar sometimes when you because sometimes you know that D shape, if you can you bar them? What's your thought on all that?
Let me just keep everybody back. I did a lesson on these way back when, and I'm going to have to find it. So give me just a second. Yep, hang on a second. Because there's a PDF, there's a great PDF that goes along with that. Jazz arpeggios on guitar, that's right. Okay, so I did this lesson in 2018. I'm going to put the link up in the chat here in just a second. And there's a, excuse me, there's a PDF that is in the YouTube description. So there's the video, the PDF that goes along with it, which is what Patrick is talking about, everybody. I'll put that in the chat as well. Okay, so there you go. There's the PDF and the lesson for that. Okay, so you know what we're talking about. Now, what that PDF tells you is the different arpeggios. It takes them through, I believe, in the key of C. C major 7th, C, E, G, B, arpeggio, just breaking that chord up. And how you play it on guitar. And then a D minor. E minor. F major 7th. G7. A minor, B half diminished. But Steve, there's a whole slew of them. Yes, there's 7 different ones. 7 different ones. So, and then, but they're all movable. So, like, I don't need a C major 7th, I need a B flat major 7th. But this song's in C minor. Do you have a C minor 7th? Well, yes, I sure do. What, I could do this one here. So it seems like it's a lot, but actually they'll start repeating. And so it's not as many, but they're all listed on that PDF that I just put in there. And those are really helpful for any sort of jazz work to get those underneath your fingers. Now, that's easy for me to say, and I can put the link up there in 30 seconds. That was about 3 months of me doing it. Okay, I think I got the form down. Okay, then I move it up a half step. Play the same thing. Up a half step. What if I go up a half step and then come down? You see what I'm doing? I'm just playing games with myself. All the way up and down. And then maybe the next day, then I'll do the major 7th one with it. To where at the end of a couple of weeks, you've got it. You've got it. And that's how those arpeggios are. But yeah, they're well worth adding to your daily practice routine to get the feel of them underneath your fingers. Did that kind of answer your question there, Patrick?
Yeah, and what's the a trap you should avoid when you start working on those? Because I was reading about some avoiding to bars. Some, you know, just use the fingertips and some.
fingertips on that. Now, a couple of ones that where it has like two strings that are adjacent. You know, I can
Yeah.
bar there, but for the most part, I generally want to avoid barring with any of that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the one thing I would say on those traps to avoid. Yes, quitting too early. That's the trap to avoid. With everything, you play them a week and you go, ooh, that's a lot of mess, and then you move on. That's the trap. That's the trap right there. Just keep working them until you can look at the instrument and say C minor 7th. What if I'm up here? Oh, what if I'm here? What about here? Okay, but Steve, you just went through 4 different C minor 7ths. Yes, I did. And all of those forms are on that sheet, and they'll all start repeating after a while. And so, you know, there's a gazillion of them. No, it's only about 10 or 12 of them actually. And then they work out from there. Here's how I learned them, Patrick. All right, 30 seconds. This is how I learned those bad boys. I would take a key. Now, I did them in C, like I wrote out for you, and got all of its permutations down. D minor, E minor, F, all in this position. Okay, but Steve, what if your C major 7th is over here? Okay, then I have to figure them out over there. C major 7th. Oh, that's like the F major 7th over here. But what about the D minor? Oh, so that's a new one. What about the E minor? Oh, well, that's like the A minor over here, so that one repeats. And I'll do them all here, and then maybe do them all here, and maybe do them all here. There's about 4 different places that you could do them all at, and then you kind of got them all. So there's minor 7ths, major 7ths. After you've done them, you get major 7ths, minor 7ths, dominant 7ths, and half diminished. You'll be able to play them in any key, in 3 or 4 different spots on the neck. So
because it seems that they're used in all kinds of styles of music. They're used a lot, even in blues.
Yes.
The dominant 7 is used and popular, and they seem to relate more to the changes of the chords in the music.
Especially in jazz. In fact, if you look over, everybody turn over to the sample solo, page 10. I included, this time in Blue Bossa, I thought it would just be helpful and interesting for you guys to just have a sample solo. Not that this is the best solo in the world or anything like that. It's just an idea of what a solo looks like on paper. You can analyze it, okay? So even in this little sample solo, like it starts out with a little variation of the melody. And here's an arpeggio right after that. Okay, that little arpeggio is an A flat major 7th arpeggio I'm playing over the F minor. Remember our super arpeggio lesson a month or so back, where I can go up to the flatted 3rd of the minor and make a major 7th. That's all that is. It's not even kind of like an A flat major 7th. It is exactly an A flat major 7th. And then I just wind my way back down to the F. But when I put it into context, it sounds musical. Then I thought, hey, let's throw in last week's lick of the week. To show you how that lick of the week would fit in there. In E flat minor 7th, in the 3rd line, I do a little 2-5-1 in the key of D flat. I'm just doing a D flat scale, but I'm just kind of walking it up. Starts on an E flat, 7th, third, third. Remember how I told you how thirds and sevenths are important? Those are the melody notes that sound best to land on, to target towards. Okay? Let's see. Hey, that B natural, a B natural over a G augmented 7 sharp 9. Does a G augmented 7 sharp 9 have a B flat or a B natural in it? It's a trick question. It's got them both in it. A G augmented would be G, B, natural, D sharp, F, G, and then sharp 9 would be an A sharp or a B flat. It's got both a B flat and a B natural in it. So don't let that throw you. This is jazz. We got a lot of notes in there. Okay. We get to the top of page 11. I do my little lick of the week here. Hey, what if I did over that F minor 7th, I did the same lick that I did before, but I just harmonized it in thirds. So instead of going, I just did a third on top of that. Throw a little slide in there, you sound like a jazz player. A C harmonic minor scale. Catch you resolving that C. So do you see what I'm doing? That E flat minor 7th is just a arpeggio backwards. Another arpeggio up, ending on the 3rd. So do you see kind of what's happening here? Right down a descending harmonic minor scale. So I thought that sample solo might help you visualize kind of what's happening with the solo a little bit more. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. You guys are doing great. Rex had a question. Steve, while learning the rhythm, it helps to start even simpler in that the bass is always just the root. B3 is still root, not fifth. Yes, you could do that when doing the little bossa rhythm there. If alternating the bass is a little tricky for you, just stay on the root. And then when you're ready, you can go back and forth on the root. Okay. Any last questions? You guys doing all right? You tired? You bored? You're hungry? What's going on here?
Oh.
I got a question for you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Alvin. Yeah, what do you got?
Just instead of that G7th sharp 9, can you play a D diminished?
By golly, you can. Okay, so how did trying to think where I've explained that before. That's a dominant 7th chord with a flat 9, and you do the old diminished off of that. So you could do those diminished on any 7th chord, like that augmented 7th. That works fine to do it there. Yeah, yeah, perfect. And I could throw those in other places too. Like if I did that E flat minor, where 3rd line stuff where it goes to D flat major. There was the old diminished right before I end on that D flat major 7th. Yeah, it's a good trick to be able to do. Okay. Next week we've got Misty. So that's going to be a good one. I'm working on that right now. And hopefully we'll have it all done for you by tomorrow. So, but yeah, Misty's the one for next week. So I wanted to give you a good balance. We had swing with All of Me. Here we've got a little introduction into minor and Latin. Next week we'll have a ballad, and then we'll finish off the month with Satin Doll. And then next month, we can all sign up again and do next month. Next month I'm going to do All the Things You Are. I want to do Girl from Ipanema next month. And then we'll pick another couple as well too. So there you go. Any last minute questions before we're out of here?
I like your licks. The more licks, the better.
Good. I'll keep throwing those in there. Hopefully that helps give you some things that you can throw into other parts of the song as well. Even in that, when we get to that third line of this one, I can play that my same lick from last week there over that A flat. I can play that. So I want to try and give you that one. Works over anything dominant. The minor lick there works over the minor. Next week I'll give you one that works over major sevenths.
Steve, as a beginner, and working out these jazz chords and going, to a new song each week, certainly a lot comes in that I absorb through all your conversations with everybody on this. But what's the best way to approach it and not just feel so overwhelmed?
Well, I know I'm throwing you a lot of material. I'm fully aware of that. My wife tells me, you can't keep creating all of this material for these guys all the time. Can't keep up this level of work. But I just want to give you as much stuff as I can for the beginner folks like yourself, and for the advanced folks, that they have something to work on as well. So here's my advice. Don't get overwhelmed. Just take what you can. Okay, I think I understand what he's doing on the basic chords. Great. Don't even worry about the rest of it. Just focus on those basic chords. I think I can get that. I've got a whole week. I'm going to work on those basic chords. And don't worry about the rest. If you look at it all, you'll go, oh my goodness, there's too much. I'll never learn it. And I might as well go do something else. That's the enemy. The enemy is stopping. So anything you can do short of that is fine. So just take one little part that you think you can get. I think I could get that lick of the week this week. Then you work on that. And just focus on that. Don't worry about the rest of it. It'll always be there. So learn what you can. Learn what you can.
That's what I'm doing. It's great.
Good. Thank you.
It's a big buffet, guys. So you can't eat it all, but you save some for dessert.
That's right. Peggy, do you have something?
I was going to ask if you had time to go into the questions, the one on the super arpeggios or the tritone.
Okay. Let me get that up here. Peggy had asked a question. Where did you send me that, Peggy?
Several places.
Okay, I got one. No, wait a minute. That's another question.
I had two of them. The first was about with super arpeggio, when you're building a chord, I understand it. I understand what you're doing with the triads. And when you build off the third degree, you've got, say in the key of C, you've got the E minor 9. Mm-hmm. When you build off the fifth degree, you introduce an F sharp, which is not part of the C major scale, and I don't understand where the F sharp comes from.
Right. Okay. I will. All right. I can't find your question, but I'll answer it. Okay. Here's the deal. It's alternating minor and major seventh. I'm sorry, minor and major thirds. Minor and major thirds. So here's what I mean by that. Let's say Okay, we'll do it in C, so that'll be with your example. C up to E is a major third.
Right.
E to G is actually a minor third.
Okay.
Okay. Now, for those of you that might be a little fuzzy with this, after this week, which I'm resting, next month, we're going to cover theory in live lessons and stuff like that with scales, keys, key signatures, intervals, things like that. So if you're a little fuzzy on that, next month, we're going to get into that. Okay, so we have a major third here, a minor third here. What if I did a major third after this one? Because we've done major third, minor third, now it's time for a major third. Okay, a major third above a G is a B. Okay,
right.
What's now it'd be time for a minor third. Minor third above a B is a
D.
D. What's a major third above a D?
Major would be F sharp.
And there it is.
Okay.
It's flipping major third, minor third, major third, minor third, major third, minor. So it's not going in the key.
Okay. Okay.
C.
That's what was throwing me off. I was just trying to figure if it's it should be a dominant and then it should be the
Yep.
Not the F sharp. Okay, thank you.
Flipping the intervals. That's what's
Got
happening.
it. Thank you.
Yeah. Good job. Any last minute thoughts, questions? I've already kept you over too long.
The other question was about the tritone, but again, we can do that another time
I'll
if you
get you
want.
that next time on the tritone. Sub.
Okay.
Good. All right. I will send you some stuff tomorrow. If you guys that are in the Jazz Academy Plus, where you can send me a video, please take advantage of that. You don't have to, but if you would like to, just send me a video of you playing the song, and I'll send you a video back of me giving you some thoughts to think about. Okay. And now that we've done that for a week or two with the folks that have done that, a good way that we found to do that is to upload it maybe to YouTube and then just send me the link. And then I'll upload my video to YouTube and send you the link. That way we're not sending 20 megabyte files back and forth and try and get emails to work with all that stuff. Okay. All right. Appreciate you guys. It's going to be a good week ahead with Misty. So we'll relax it a little bit with Misty. So, all right. We'll see you guys. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you all.
Thanks so
for your
much.
lesson. Thank
Yeah.
you. So